In this video I'm going to introduce you to the new features with the 1.1 release of the SiteWorks core plugin. There's a lot of small changes, but the main thing that has changed is some additional functionality for the U3A group list and the U3A events list. The first thing to say is that if you're happy with the way these are working at the moment, you need do nothing. Your site will continue to work as before. But let me show you the new features on the group list. So you'll be familiar that this placeholder shows where your list of groups will be shown. If I select that block, you'll see something which you haven't seen before, which is that there are now a number of display options down the side here. Let's just remind ourselves what the page looks like by default. We've got a list of groups showing the status and the date on which the group runs. However, you've got some controls here. So, for example, if you don't want to show the status, you can switch that off. If you don't want to show the meeting time, you can have a very minimal list. So if we update that, and then let's switch back to here and refresh the screen, and you'll see you've now got a very minimal list just showing you the list of the groups. These then just function as simple links to the groups. So you've got various settings here. If we switch all of these on, then you'll get a display which shows you the full details of the list. Now, by default, the ordering of these is by column, so we've got A to Z running down the columns. Those of you who come from Site Builder may prefer the flow to be different, so rather than flowing down columns, you can flow across the rows. So if I change that setting there and refresh, we are now running A, B, C, D, E, etc. across the columns. So you've got that control there. You can also do listings of groups in certain categories. So for example, if you're only interested in displaying a list of groups in a certain category, then you can do that as well. I've only got one group in the walking category, so this isn't going to look very good, but at least I can show you what it looks like. So if we refresh this page now, it'll just simply show me a list of all the groups in one particular category. So you may want to set up a page, for example, where you have a particular type of group, maybe outdoor activities or something like that, and it'll give you a list then of all the groups in that particular category. So that's what this additional one does. There's a few more controls here as well, so you can say I want to see them sorted in a particular order and so on. So that's the updates to the U3A group list. Let's go back now and have a look at the page list. So the events list block rather. So if we look at the events page, then this will be how you're familiar with this working. And let's have a quick look and we'll see what that normally looks like. So this is what we were familiar with. It just gives a list of the forthcoming events. We don't need that page anymore. Right. Now, again, if we select that block, you've now got a lot more options here relating to the U3A events list. So for example, by default you would see events in the future, but if you want to have an archive page, then you can show events that have already occurred in the past. So if you want to show the kind of things that have happened, you can use the block to give you a listing of past events. I'll leave this on the future for now. Similarly with this, you can say I'm only after a certain category. And you've also got various layout choices, and this possibly is the most useful change. Rather than having the simple list that we're used to, you can also select a grid with a featured image. And so if I update that, and let's go and refresh the view now, and so what we're now seeing now is a grid display showing the featured images for those particular events. And you've got various controls here. You can choose to make the image exactly fit the rectangular area. You can choose a background for the grid, so if you just want a very plain background, you can say put it on a white background, and so on. And so we'll update that, and if we refresh the page, you can see that we've now got a different style of display here. Let's go back and see how you might use this. Again, you might want to say, I'm only interested, for example, in those events that relate to outings. So again, you might use this block on a page where you just wanted to list the outings that you or the U3A have arranged, in which case you would see then a shorter listing. So in this case you can see I'm just showing the outings. So that's really the main changes that you'll see. And again, just to emphasize, if you're happy with the way things are working at the moment, you don't need to use these facilities, but you'll find that if you want to have a little bit more control over the display, then these block properties now give you some additional choices. While we're here, this is not a SiteWorks feature, but you can see we've got some nice highlighting around the edge of this block. The shadow effect is something which is new in WordPress 6.5. So let us just choose the group, and we'll have a look at the columns block, which has got the shading applied to it. And if we have a look at the properties, down at the bottom here we've got a new thing which is called the drop shadow selector, and you can select from a range of different styles of shadow. So you can have a very solid black shadow, if you like it, a grey shadow, or you can pick up from some of the U3A colours. So we've got a kind of a blue shadow or a yellow shadow. So as I say, that's a specific feature of WordPress 6.5. It's not something that's coming new in the SiteWorks plugins, but it's available to you to use now, and something that you may find useful. You can apply it to images as well. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful.